All right, energetic preview using the instrument of the self through the emotional flux. So what does that mean? It's like in life, events happen, experiences happen. Our emotions are stirred. We become the experience. Our emotions are brought to life in the experience. The memories are set. The loops are activated. The mind spins. The experiences leave. The spinning mind drops the experience into the emotional realm and it gets stuck in a tidal pool. It's like it needs to be worked out through the tension of the self and your dynamics to others in this world. So let's track the moon here for a moment. Now, if you're tracking the moon, you can focus on developing the instrument of the self. The challenge in this world is that the emotions are tied up and invested in what we do because we have to survive, we have to relate, we have obligations, expectations. So we can't get to the authentic, or we can't drop the emotions because the emotions are in use. It's like, how do you empty the gas tank when you're driving, essentially? Well, you got to figure out how to drive the car to a destination that when the gas tank runs empty, you're set, you're where you want to be. And that's focusing on something that inspires you, feeds your passion, feeds your spirit, gets you active, gets you alive, gets you out of the spin, essentially. So right now, Sun conjunct South Node and Mercury, and even Mars to an extent. I mean, that's a wide orb, but this is an influence right here. This is an energetic. You can break it down cognitively by studying all this stuff, which I recommend. But I would recommend trying to get through your emotional loops first, trying to find authentic emotion. And the only way for me to do that is to find my passion, to do what I enjoy, to do what brings me peace, creativity, stuff like that. Doing what I enjoy when I can. But we just had the new moon in Libra. It was that annular solar eclipse. Balsamic phase conjunction to Spica. Literally, like right there. So it's a profound energy we carry, and it's always profound, really. It just doesn't always feel that way. It's hard to smile when you're in a rainstorm. And you're trying to light a match so you can see where you're going. So this moon here, tracking the moon, I never really analyzed tracking the moon myself. I always try and just feel into the feelings. But since I study astrology and all that, I guess I should try and apply the logics of the elemental expressions and the aspects, at least communally. So that's what I'm doing here right now. So air, air, what is it? It's spirit. It can be felt, it cannot be seen. The closest thing we can get to it is ideations, ideas, from what we've experienced, what we have seen in the world, what we have heard of, what others have told us. It's a relational energy, the air, the mind. The polished mind. But you can't really polish the mind. You have to polish what's below it. You have to get below the mind. You have to allow the currents to flow. So right now the moon is going to be sextiling because it's in Sagittarius, so it's going to be sextiling back to where the new moon was. It's a creative, dynamic reach from Libra. So think of history for a moment. You were born. There's been a long reach to bring you to where you are here today. Well, this is kind of a short reach, but it's the same analogy. There's a creative expression in a sextile, which is reaching. So the mind, the ideas, the spirit is reaching towards a truth, an understanding, a belief that can be constructed through the past, through the experiences, through the emotions, to allow the mind to settle into something which is more free-flowing rather than what is echo response. You may get impulses with the moon in Sag about what it is you have to war for, what it is you have to drive for, what it is you're going to have to get Aries about, creative about, authentic, pioneering about. And this impetus is going to be through catalyzation of a catharsis, digesting what it is that you had acquired through all your relational experiences in Gemini. Because here's the thing, you come to realizations within yourself on your own. When you go into dynamics with other people, you are tested to stand in the validity of what those beliefs are, what those truths are, and we often slip up. And we only slip up because we're just not used to it. It's like you can't go into a bullfight and expect to survive if you don't even know what you're doing. So you need the ignorance in order to learn. So you got to go forward in life knowing that you make mistakes and you can course correct. And if other people have a problem with it, that's their problem. No one's perfect. Anyone that has ideations of expectations of a specific type of behavior or etiquette is someone who's trapped in their own. They've resigned to their hubris. They quit dealing with their emotions, they're just coasting. They're in the spin cycle, in society, in their jobs, in their marriages, and whatever they decided was okay, and they didn't need to change, they didn't need to move on from. So if you find yourself in that place, or you've been in that place, well, this is a good time for you to recognize that you've grown. Your awareness is different than it was then. It's okay to make mistakes because you can correct them. Just make your mistakes wise. So how do we do that? Well, following the passion of something which nurtures your spirit by nature is not something that's going to take from someone else unless you are over-identifying yourself with an objective reality. When you bring objectifications of this world around you within yourself as if it's you, then you have to realize that you are not it and release it. And that's part of dropping the emotional loops, because that's what keeps us bound in dynamics. So feeling into the belief of what you've been through and how you've grown and that you're growing now, and knowing that you can charge forward, at least within yourself, towards a more authentic expression of your truth. You have an ability to do that, always. But specifically now, after the solar eclipse we just had, So we're going into a full moon in Taurus. I talked about it a little bit. I mean, I didn't cover all the details. I just kind of narrowed it down to what I felt was important for that message. But this is the transformation with Sagittarius, the transformation of Taurus. So what we do here now, what realizations we come up through with this Sagittarius, maybe a little bit into Capricorn, depending on your aspects. Or maybe you already had that epiphany in Scorpio, but regardless, whatever you are able to settle on as a truth that you feel pulled to, that's part of your transformation energy. That's part of the cultivation of your value. That's part of your Venusian climb. A few years ago, Venus met Pluto at 25, 26 degrees Capricorn. She retrograded. That's the working transformation from Leo. So whatever happened a few years ago in Capricorn was catalyzed with this last Venusian retrograde. Now Venus met with Mars in Capricorn, and I believe they went on into Aquarius together within orb. So that was kind of an insight into the breakout, into the future-oriented drive that your spirit, that your soul is pushing you towards. How do you reconcile your masculine and feminine, your yang and yin? What you compromise and what you expect other people to compromise. So this moon, you can track it. There's a lot of websites you can use to track the moon. You can go to AstroTheme, AstroSeek, Astro.com, and probably many others. Or you can get fancy software. But this moon, so the relations of past, present, future, feeling into the depths of what that is, and bringing out the torch, the belief, feeding that fire to bring that forward through the formation of what you do in this world with that. How do you relate in relation to society, family, and all the expectations? Remember, Capricorn is the transformation of the data which we're digesting and reforming right now. So we may have opportunities here as the moon passes through Capricorn, if you're hypersensitive or if you're in a specific phase of your growth. And specifically when the other personal planets enter into Capricorn, then the realizations will really be felt and understood. And the world will most likely reflect a lot of that. So follow this moon. We're in the fire moon right now. Just think fire to earth, to air, to water. You're burning down the past, burning down what doesn't suit you within yourself to create new terra firma from which to build. You can build a new mountain or begin to, or cultivate a field or whatever and bring in new spirit here in Aquarius. Pouring new waters, essentially. Allowing the emotions, allowing the emotional loops to spin out and flow away. To swim out of those loops. You got to find that pole star and just start swimming towards what that is. Whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. It's right for the moment. Once you begin to get in tune with the moon, you can follow the signs. You can be more confident in that kind of thing. At least that's what I have felt, or realized, I should say. So there's a square with Venus and the Moon today. The Moon will in conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is trining Venus. So the reconciliation of how we can expand through growing awareness of our beliefs, dropping what restricted us to become more adaptable and dynamic, like a mutable energy can, should, would, empowers you. You know, these two mutable energies can help you transform fixed, stagnant energy. So whatever comes up for you within the next few days here, try and look at the deeper meaning, and to do that is just to feel into it. What is it triggering within you? What is it tripping? What are you tripping on? What is someone else tripping on? Why? Is that what you need in your life? Is that what you need in relationship? Is that what your belief structure tells you is right? Is that what the data tells you is right? Is it someone else's repression of their own pioneering individual spirit trying to threaten yours because you threaten them by changing? Well, that's your sign. You know, when you feel those kind of things, you know you're on the right path, because when you're on the right path, you get more tension, there's more pressure. That's how you know. Then when you get through that pressure and you're able to flow and glide and follow what feels right, then you recognize and you realize everything you've gone through and how it was there to help you get better, get stronger, get smarter, get healed, essentially. All right, well, this is a quick message. Hope it was helpful, beneficial. If so, awesome. If you want to read in, go to my website and schedule an appointment. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, listening, and being.